Discover stillness not in silent retreats, but right here in life's vibrant flow. Feel how your breath becomes the anchor when chaos surrounds you. This moment holds deep peace waiting to be noticed. Share with us now what time, where you are, and one small moment of calm you're holding right this second. Let your words join this shared space of quiet presence. Now let us settle into our posture together. Settle now, as you are, into this moment of stillness. No need to chase a perfect shape. No pressure to hold a pose that feels foreign. This is not about achieving a rigid, flawless posture. It is simply about creating a gentle space within your body where awareness can settle and breathe freely. Feel your seat grounding you, perhaps on a cushion, perhaps on a chair, wherever you find stability. Allow your spine to find its natural curve, not by forcing it straight, but by releasing any unnecessary tension. Imagine a soft, quiet thread gently lifting the crown of your head towards the sky, inviting your neck to lengthen and your shoulders to soften away from your ears. Let your arms rest comfortably, hands resting on your lap or knees, palms open or gently cupped. This is not about holding a position, but about releasing the subtle, habitual efforts we carry in our bodies. Breathe naturally now, as your breath flows in and out without any need to control it, without any effort to make it deeper or slower. Simply notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen, the quiet exchange of air, your body's natural stillness. The quiet presence you are already embodying becomes the solid foundation for the mental calm you seek. This is not a temporary pause before the mind becomes busy again. It is the very ground from which peace arises. Notice how tension, even subtle tension held in the jaw or the shoulders, creates a quiet noise within. When you release that, even slightly, it is like the surface of a pond clearing after a stone has been tossed. The ripples subside, and the water becomes still, reflecting the sky clearly. In the Zen tradition, a monk might sit for hours, not because he is striving to be still, but because he has learned to let his body be still as it naturally is. He doesn't fight the sway of his body or the thoughts that arise. He simply returns to the simple, natural alignment of his breath and his presence. This is the wisdom of the practice. Your posture is not a goal to reach. It is the path you walk right now, step by step, breath by breath. Feel the weight of your body settling into the earth beneath you. Feel the support of the chair or cushion holding you, not as a burden, but as a gentle embrace. Notice where your body feels most settled, where it feels most relaxed, and let that be your anchor. Let go of the idea that you must be perfectly still. Instead, let go of the effort to be still. Allow your breath to move through you as it always has, effortlessly. Your body, in its natural state of quiet presence, is already a vessel for deep peace. This simple alignment, this release of striving, is where stillness begins. It is not something you create through force. It is something you uncover by releasing the unnecessary weight you carry. As you sit here, notice the subtle shift that happens when you stop pushing and simply allow. The space you create within your body is not empty. It is filled with the quiet hum of your own being, the deep peace that has always been there, waiting for you to stop moving away from it. This physical alignment, this return to your body's natural state, reveals how stillness begins within the body. Settle gently into your posture, releasing any subtle tension you may carry. Feel the support beneath you, the quiet stability of your presence. Now, bring your attention softly to the natural rhythm of your breath. Do not try to change it. Do not guide it. Simply notice how the air flows in, cool and soft, filling your body with quiet ease. Notice how it flows out, slow and steady, carrying away any lingering tightness. This simple movement, happening right now, is your anchor to the present moment. It is always here, always available, a gentle current within you that never leaves. Observe your breath without any effort to control it. Let the natural pattern unfold as it does. When the inhale comes, feel the quiet expansion, a soft opening. When the exhale follows, feel the gentle release, a quiet letting go. There is no need to make it deeper or longer. Just allow it to be as it is. This is not about achieving a perfect breath. It is about returning, again and again, to the simple reality of this moment. Each inhale is a quiet invitation to be present. Each exhale is a soft release of anything that pulls you away. In this noticing, without judgment or correction, you find yourself resting within the quiet heart of stillness. Imagine a gardener kneeling in the early morning light, tending to a single, perfect bloom. The sun warms the soil. Birds sing softly in the distance. The gardener's hands move with care, but their attention is not fixed only on the flower. They feel the cool morning air entering their lungs, the slow release as they turn to lift a small stone. They do not force the breath to be deeper. They simply notice it, a natural part of the quiet work. The garden, the air, the breath, all are part of the same still, peaceful whole. The gardener is not separate from the garden, nor from the breath. They are simply present within the flow, aware and calm. This is mindfulness of breath. It is not a separate practice done apart from life, but the natural awareness that arises when we stop trying to push life away. So, as you sit, simply notice your breath. Feel the subtle rise and fall of your chest or abdomen. Hear the soft sound of air moving in and out. See the space between the inhale and exhale. Do not chase the breath or hold on to it. Let it guide you back to this moment, to the quiet space within you that is always calm. Each breath is a gentle reminder that peace is not something you seek outside yourself. It is already here, inherent in the simple, natural act of breathing. It is the deep peace that is your true nature, not something you have to create. The breath is not a tool to reach peace. It is the very expression of peace itself, flowing within you as naturally as the wind through trees. As you rest in this awareness, notice if thoughts arise. They will, but you are not the thoughts. You are the quiet space where thoughts come and go, like clouds passing through a clear sky. The breath remains the steady point of return. Notice the thought, then gently return to the feeling of the breath. No need to push thoughts away. No need to follow them. Simply notice them and return to the anchor of your breath. This is the practice, returning again and again to the present moment, without effort, without strain. As the breath becomes familiar, as you rest more deeply within its natural rhythm, the space where thoughts appear begins to feel different. You will notice thoughts arising without the usual reaction, without the pull to engage or judge. You will simply see them, like leaves floating on a calm stream, while the stillness beneath remains undisturbed. This is the natural unfolding of deep peace, already present within the quiet observation of your breath. Now, let the breath guide you deeper into this spacious awareness. Feel the quiet space between thoughts as your breath flows softly, naturally, without needing to be guided. This is the ground where stillness begins to reveal itself. Now, gently notice the quiet hum of mental activity that often accompanies this stillness. The gentle chatter of shoulds and musts that we carry like invisible weights. These thoughts are not enemies, but like clouds passing across a clear sky. They arise, they move, they pass. The key is not to chase them away or to hold them tightly, but simply to observe them with a kind of soft awareness, noticing their presence without needing to do anything about them. Imagine a monk sitting beneath a vast, open sky, watching clouds drift by. The clouds are not the sky. They are merely passing phenomena. The monk does not try to push the clouds away or to make them stay. He simply rests in the clear space of the sky itself, watching the clouds come and go, knowing they cannot disturb the sky's inherent calm. This is the essence of releasing mental clutter. It is not about emptying the mind completely, which is impossible and creates more struggle. It is about recognizing that the mind's natural flow is already peaceful, and that our resistance to what is happening right now, our inner turmoil, is what creates the disturbance. So, as you sit here, notice one thought that feels heavy, perhaps a should about what you need to do, or a must about how things must be. Feel it arise, not as something to fix, but as a cloud passing through your awareness. On your next gentle exhale, imagine that thought softening, loosening its grip, and flowing away with the breath, just as a cloud dissolves into the vast sky. Let the exhale be a soft release, a quiet letting go. You don't need to force the thought away. Simply allow it to move on, as clouds move with the wind. This is not about achieving a blank mind, but about stopping the inner fight against the mind's natural movement. When you stop struggling with the thoughts, when you stop saying, "I shouldn't be thinking this," or "I must stop thinking," something remarkable happens. The space between thoughts becomes deeper, the stillness more profound, because you are no longer creating tension against what is. This release is not a one-time event. It happens moment by moment, with each breath, as you gently let go of the need to control your inner landscape. It is the quiet practice of returning to the simple fact of your breath, the anchor that is always here, not a tool to create calm, but the very presence of calm itself. As you release the shoulds and musts with each exhale, you're not losing your direction. You are returning to a deeper, more natural sense of knowing that comes from within, unburdened by the heavy expectations we often place upon ourselves. The mind, when not fighting itself, reveals its own inherent stillness, like a pond becoming clear when the ripples calm. This gentle release of mental clutter, this soft letting go with the breath, is the essential preparation. It is the quiet foundation that allows true calm to arise within the midst of life's inevitable movement. This release prepares us to meet daily chaos with calm presence. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the quiet space within. Now open them gently to the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, but as it simply is. This is where stillness finds its home. Not in some distant mountain retreat, but right here, in the ordinary flow of your day. It lives in the rhythm of washing dishes, the warmth of tea in your hands, the sound of rain on the roof. Peace is not something you chase to a special place. It is already present, waiting in the mundane moments you often rush past. This is the heart of presence. Engage fully with one sense at a time. Feel the cool, smooth surface of the teacup as you lift it. Notice the gentle steam rising, carrying the earthy scent of leaves. Hear the soft sound of water running over your hands as you wash a single plate. Let the taste of the tea fill your mouth, a quiet companion. When you focus deeply on the feeling of the water, the scent of the tea, the sound of the dish, you anchor yourself completely in this now. There is no need to create calm. You simply notice the calm that is already there, woven into the fabric of the ordinary. Thoughts may drift in, as they always do, but you don't chase them away or cling to them. You notice them like clouds passing in a clear sky, and gently return your attention to the water's cool touch, the cup's warmth, the scent of the tea. This is not about perfection. It is about gentle attention. It is about dropping the burden of needing the moment to be different, to be more special. The dishwashing is not a chore to endure, it is a quiet practice. The tea is not merely a drink, it is an invitation to be fully here. The ordinary is not empty, it is rich with the potential for deep peace. You don't need to be somewhere else to find it. You don't need to wait for a quiet room or a perfect moment. It is found right here, in the simple act of washing one dish, feeling the water, noticing the steam. This is how stillness becomes a natural part of your being, not something you have to force. It is the deep peace that arises when you stop resisting the way things simply are. You are not trying to reach a state, you are simply being present with what is. The resistance is what creates the inner storm. Letting go of that resistance, moment by moment, in the ordinary, is the path. So take a slow breath now. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Notice the sound of your own breath, soft and steady. Now, if you have a cup of tea nearby, or even just a moment to pause, bring your full attention to the sensation of it. Feel the warmth on your palms. Smell the gentle aroma. Taste the first sip. Let the rest of the world soften into the background. This is not a technique to master. It is a simple return to what you already are. It is the quiet recognition that peace isn't out there, waiting for you to arrive. It is right here, in the ordinary, in the space between your breaths, in the simple act of being fully present with this moment. This is the foundation, not a grand achievement, but a gentle, daily return to the peace that has always been your true nature, found not in the extraordinary, but in the quiet depth of the ordinary. Now, as you carry this quiet awareness, notice how it might transform your experience when life's inevitable disruptions arise. The stillness you find in washing dishes will be the same stillness you can return to when the phone rings unexpectedly, when a conversation turns difficult, when the world feels loud and chaotic. The practice begins not in the storm, but in the calm of the ordinary moment. Imagine sitting quietly, not to force calm, but simply to be present. Notice the gentle rhythm of your breath, the soft sounds around you, and the subtle flow of thoughts as they arise. This is the heart of observing thoughts without judgment. Thoughts are not enemies to be fought or changed. They are simply weather passing through the sky of your mind. They come and go like clouds, and your task is not to stop the wind, but to watch its movement with quiet attention. When a thought arises, gently label it thinking as you might name a passing bird. This simple act creates space between you and your mind. It is not about pushing thoughts away or clinging to them, but about recognizing the thought as a thought, without adding layers of good or bad, should or should not. Judgment creates tension, tightening the fabric of your being. Observation invites stillness, a deep quiet that exists beneath the surface of mental activity. It is like standing by a river, watching the water flow without trying to control its current or stop the ripples. The river continues its journey. You simply rest in the awareness of its movement. This is not passive waiting, but active, gentle presence. It is the practice of being fully here, right now, with whatever arises, without resistance. In the ordinary moments of washing dishes, walking to the mailbox, or listening to a friend, you can carry this awareness. When a thought about the past or future surfaces, don't chase it or suppress it. Instead, softly note thinking and return to the sensation of your feet on the ground, the feeling of your hands, the sound of your breath. Feel the subtle shift as you release the need to manage your thoughts. You are not the thought, you are the awareness holding it. This releases the exhausting effort of mental struggle. You discover that peace is not found by changing your mind, but by resting in the spaciousness that exists when you stop fighting what is. The mind naturally settles when you stop pulling it in different directions. This is the deep peace that comes from stability, not from seeking a special state. It is the quiet knowing that you are already whole, already still, right here in the midst of life's ordinary flow. You are not separate from the river, you are the river flowing through you. So as you go about your day, notice the next thought that appears. Gently say thinking without any force. Feel the soft space that opens within you. This is how you deepen your anchor in the present moment. It is not a grand achievement, but a quiet, persistent return to this simple, unhurried observation. This practice transforms how we relate to mental activity. It turns the noisy inner landscape into a clear, calm stream where stillness is always present, waiting to be recognized. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the gentle rhythm of your own presence right now, unchanging beneath the surface of the moment. This is the ground we return to, the still point within the turning world. In this chapter, we deepen our anchor, not by forcing calm, but by learning to witness the passing show of thoughts with quiet, unwavering attention. Notice how thoughts arise like ripples on a pond, or clouds drifting across the vast sky. They appear, they shift, they dissolve. They do not need to be caught, held, or chased. They simply move through the space of your awareness, like clouds passing through the clear sky. Imagine a monk walking beside a fast-moving river, his mind filled with the rushing thoughts of the day. He notices the water's current, the sound of its flow, the way leaves float downstream. He does not try to stop the river or grasp the leaves. He simply observes the water's natural movement. He sees the river is not the leaves, nor the leaves the river. The river flows, the leaves pass, and the water remains. This is the essence of the teaching. Your thoughts are the leaves, the clouds, the passing weather. Your awareness is the river, the sky, the unchanging presence holding it all. You are not the thought about yesterday's meeting. You are the quiet knowing that holds the thought as it comes and goes. You are not the worry about tomorrow. You are the deep peace that remains even as the worry moves through. Try this now, gently, as you sit quietly. Notice a thought arise, a simple memory, a fleeting plan, a small judgment. See it clearly, without needing to follow its path or judge it. See it as a cloud forming in the sky of your mind. Feel the space around it, the vastness of your awareness that holds it without being disturbed. The thought may linger for a moment, but it has no power to stay. It is already moving, dissolving into the background of your quiet knowing. You do not need to do anything to the thought. You simply rest in the awareness that is the sky. It is not passive, it is the deepest engagement, the most profound stability. You are not struggling with the cloud. You are the sky that holds the cloud, knowing it will pass. This is the practice of non-striving. It is not about emptying the mind, but about recognizing that the mind's activity is natural, like the sky's clouds. Your effort is not to stop the clouds, but to remember you are the sky. When a thought arises about a difficult conversation, notice it as a cloud, not as a command. When a wave of anxiety rises, see it as a passing weather pattern, not the entire landscape. The key is in the noticing itself, the gentle, non-judgmental awareness that says, "This is a thought, and I'm not that thought." This is the deep peace we cultivate. It is not found in the absence of thoughts, but in the clear space of awareness that remains when thoughts are seen for what they are, temporary visitors. This practice transforms how we meet life's inevitable movements. When the wind of circumstance stirs the surface of our minds, we do not panic or try to control the storm. We remember the sky is always clear beneath the clouds. We breathe into the stillness within, knowing the turbulence is not who we are. The clouds pass, the river flows, and the sky remains. This is the deep peace that anchors us. This non-attachment allows us to breathe through life's turbulence. Imagine the pond at dawn, its surface perfectly still, reflecting the sky without a single ripple. This is not something the water achieves, it simply is. It doesn't strain to be calm, nor does it chase after the clouds passing overhead. It rests in its own nature. This is the essence of non-striving practice. Zen teachings do not ask you to build stillness from nothing, nor to wrestle your mind into quiet. They simply invite you to rest in the stillness that is already present, beneath the surface of your thoughts and feelings. Stop trying to get peace. Simply be with what is, exactly as it is in this moment. Effort creates tension like a clenched fist. while surrender opens space like a wide open hand. When you stop chasing stillness, stillness reveals itself as the very ground of your being. Consider the moment a single drop of rain falls onto that calm pond. The water doesn't resist the drop. It doesn't shout, "Stop. I am still." It simply receives the drop, holds it for a moment, and then the surface returns to its natural quiet. The drop was not an interruption. It was part of the pond's seamless movement. In the same way, thoughts, emotions, and even daily disturbances are not enemies to be fought. They are simply phenomena passing through the awareness that is already undisturbed. When you notice the urge to fix, to control, to make things different, when you feel that familiar tightness in your chest as you try to force calm, you can gently pause. Breathe. Notice the space between the thought and your awareness. Feel how the effort to push the thought away creates more turbulence. Then, without judgment, let the thought pass like the raindrop and return to the quiet depth beneath it. You are not the raindrop, you are the pond. This is not passive resignation. It is active, gentle presence. It is recognizing that your true nature is already peaceful, already whole. The struggle comes from believing you must earn stillness, that you must become something other than what you already are. But peace isn't a destination you arrive at. It's the quiet you discover when you stop running from your own experience. When you stop trying to get peace, peace simply is. It doesn't need your effort. It only needs your willingness to stop resisting it. Notice how the moment you release the need to fix everything, the moment you stop striving for a different feeling, you feel a subtle softening, a deepening of calm that wasn't there before. This isn't something you create. It's the space that opens when you stop closing it with your striving. So in your day, when a challenge arises, a difficult conversation, a sudden frustration, a wave of worry, instead of immediately reaching for a solution or pushing the feeling away, pause. Feel the urge to act, to fix, to make it stop. Then, breathe deeply. Let the feeling be there without adding another layer of resistance. Notice the space around it. Rest in that space. It may feel strange at first, like standing still in a rushing river. But the river is always moving. Your stillness isn't against it. It's the unshakable ground within the movement. You don't have to make the river calm. You simply rest in the calm that is always there beneath the surface of the current. This quiet stability isn't a temporary escape. It becomes your compass for navigating the very turbulence of daily life. When you stop trying to force stillness, stillness becomes your natural state. You don't have to earn it. You simply rest in it. This shifts our approach to handling daily challenges. As you step forward now, Feel the simple truth beneath your feet. This is not about reaching somewhere new, but about arriving fully in the place you already are. Each step becomes a silent prayer to the earth, a gentle acknowledgement of the ground that supports you, the movement that carries you, the breath that flows with you. There is no need to hurry toward a future moment, no pressure to arrive at some distant point. You are already here, completely present with every shift of weight, every subtle release. The stillness you have come to know within, your inherent calm, the unchanging sky of awareness is not separate from this motion. It flows through it, like water through a riverbed, natural and effortless. You do not force stillness, you simply allow the movement to be as it is, with complete attention. Imagine a monk walking the ancient stone path of a quiet monastery garden. He moves slowly, deliberately, yet without strain. He feels the cool smoothness of the worn stones beneath his feet. He notices the slight give of the earth under each step, the gentle sway of his body as he shifts his weight. He breathes in as his right foot lifts, breathes out as his left foot touches down. There is no thought of the next step, no planning for the path ahead. He is simply walking, fully embodied in the act itself. A single leaf drifts across the path, and he sees it not as an interruption, but as part of the whole, part of the moment unfolding. His mind does not chase the leaf or worry about where it will land. He remains rooted in the feeling of his feet meeting the earth, the rhythm of his breath, the quiet space between thoughts. In that simplicity, the stillness is not lost in motion, it is revealed within it. This is the practice, right here in your own steps. The next time you walk to the kitchen, to the mailbox, or even across the room to answer a call, try it. Feel the contact of your feet with the floor, the subtle shift of your body, the natural flow of your breath. Notice the sensations without naming them or trying to hold on to them. Let the destination simply dissolve. You are not moving towards something, you are moving, and that movement is already complete. There's no need to fix anything, to make it better, to arrive faster. The peace you seek is already present in the feeling of each step, in the quiet awareness that holds the movement. This is not a technique to master, but a natural resting place you discover when you stop forcing and simply allow. You are not striving for stillness, you are resting in it, right now, as you walk. When you walk this way, the idea of a separate stillness vanishes. Stillness is not something you find after you stop moving. It is the very nature of movement when you are fully awake. The ground feels solid, the air feels clear, and the breath feels like a gentle current. This is how stability deepens, not through effort, but through gentle, unwavering attention. It becomes your anchor, not a place you go, but the way you are already being. Now we bring this awareness to the chaos of daily life. You might think stillness requires escaping the storm, stepping away from the noisy world of deadlines and demands. But true peace doesn't flee chaos. It meets it, unshaken. The storm isn't the problem. The frantic reaction within you is. When the phone rings, when emails flood your screen, when voices rise in the kitchen, the moment of stress arrives. In that instant, before you speak or act, take one breath. Not a deep breath to calm down, but simply a single, natural breath. Feel the air move in and out, a quiet anchor in the rising tide of urgency. This pause isn't about stopping time. It's about stepping out of the storm's current and finding the calm center already within you. The chaos continues. Tasks pile up. Voices sound sharp, but your inner ground remains steady. You don't need to fix the storm. You simply rest in the stillness that is always present, even as the leaves swirl in the rain. Remember the old story of the monk sweeping the temple courtyard on a rainy day. Raindrops fell, leaves scattered. The path became muddy. His broom moved with quiet focus, not resisting the wet or the mess, but meeting each moment with the rhythm of his own breath. He wasn't seeking stillness apart from the rain. He was sweeping the rain away with the same ease as he swept the leaves. His action was stillness. His movement was peace. The rain was still rain. The leaves still scattered. But his mind was not caught in the whirlwind. He found the still point within the motion, the quiet center within the chaos. This wasn't effort. It was simply being fully present with what was, without adding the weight of resistance. So when you feel the pressure of a demanding day, when the next task feels overwhelming, don't chase a quiet room. Instead, pause. Before you answer the email, before you respond to the rising tension, let your breath anchor you for just one moment. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice the air in your lungs. That single breath is the still point, the center you've always carried within. It's not about stopping the world. It's about not letting the world stop you. You can be fully engaged, fully active, and yet remain rooted in that deep, unshakable peace. The tasks continue. The noise continues. But your heart remains calm. This is not passive quiet. It's the active, vibrant stillness of being completely here, right now, without needing to escape. This simple practice, taking one breath before reacting, anchors your entire day in peace. It transforms how you move through the world, turning every moment into an opportunity to return to your center. You don't need to wait for calm. You find it now, in the midst of the very activity that usually pulls you away. This anchors us to apply stillness in specific activities, to carry this quiet strength into every conversation, every task, every breath of the day. Feel the bowl's warmth beneath your palms, the simple weight of a meal offered to you. This moment, right here in the midst of your day's demands, is not a distraction from stillness, but its very ground. Eat as if the food is a gift from the earth, a silent offering of sun and rain, soil and care. Let the ordinary act of eating become your anchor, not a chore to be rushed through, but a gentle meditation unfolding with every bite. Notice the coolness of the cucumber against your tongue, the satisfying crunch of a vegetable, the soft yielding of bread, the subtle shift in temperature as the food moves through your mouth. Feel the nourishment, the quiet act of sustenance that sustains your very being. This is not merely eating, it is a profound act of presence, a way to meet the present moment with full attention, right where you are. In a small Zen monastery, a young monk once struggled to find peace amidst the constant hum of the kitchen, the clatter of pots, the demands of service. One morning, the head monk noticed him rushing his breakfast, eyes fixed on the next task. The elder simply placed a single grain of rice on the young monk's plate and said, "Eat this grain as if it were the only food in the world." The monk, confused, sat down. He took the grain, held it gently, and began to eat it slowly. He felt the slight texture, the gentle warmth, the way it dissolved slowly. He noticed the light through the window, the sound of birds outside, the quiet rhythm of his own breath. For that single grain, the kitchen's noise faded. He was utterly present, calm and aware, not because the kitchen was silent, but because his attention was fully there. The stillness wasn't found by escaping the noise. It was found within the noise, in the mindful act of eating. This is the essence of mindful eating, transforming the routine into a sacred pause, a moment where the frantic pace of the day dissolves into deep peace. So, when you sit down for your next meal, whether it's a hurried lunch at your desk or a quiet dinner, try this. Let go of the need to finish quickly. Place your hands on your bowl. Take one breath. Feel the food before you. Notice its color, its scent, the way it feels. Then, take a small bite. Chew slowly. Feel the textures, the temperature, the simple act of nourishment. Don't think about the email you need to send or the meeting you'll have. Be here, with this bite, this moment of connection to the earth and to your own body. This is how stillness is woven into the fabric of your active life. It is not about adding more time to your day. It is about transforming the time you already have, making every ordinary moment a vessel for calm. You may find your mind wander, pulling you back to the chaos. That's okay. Gently bring it back to the taste of the food, the feel of the chew, the simple act of being present. Each time you return, You strengthen your ability to carry this calm into the next moment, the next task. This practice of mindful eating is not a separate exercise. It is the natural expression of the stillness you carry within. It is the deep peace that arises when you stop trying to escape the present and instead fully inhabit it, one mindful bite at a time. This practice extends to how we engage with others, transforming every conversation, every gesture, into a moment of genuine presence. Consider the ordinary morning rush where tasks pile like untidy dishes on the counter. Emails buzz, deadlines loom, and the mind scrambles for the next thing. In this very moment of demand, stillness does not mean stopping the world. It means choosing to be fully present within one small act, not drowning in the flood of everything else. Simplicity here is not about taking away, but about stepping into the spacious freedom that comes when we release the burden of having to do more. It is the quiet confidence found when we say no to the endless shoulds and yes to the single thing that matters right now. Imagine washing the morning dishes. The sink holds a few plates. The counter holds a half-eaten apple, and your phone buzzes with another notification. Instead of trying to juggle the apple, the phone, and the dishes all at once, you choose to focus solely on the water, the soap, the smooth glide of the sponge over the plate. You let the phone's buzz fade into the background noise of the house. You don't deny the other tasks exist, but you don't let them pull you away from this one simple action. In that focused moment, the frantic energy of more dissolves. You are not avoiding the chaos. You are finding the calm within it, one dish at a time. This is simplicity as path to peace. It is not deprivation. It is liberation from the exhausting weight of excess. It is recognizing that peace does not live in a perfectly empty space, but in the clear, quiet space between the constant pull of more and the deep, satisfying knowing of enough. This practice transforms the ordinary into the sacred. It is not about escaping the demands of life, but about meeting them with a heart that is not scattered. When you reduce your attention to one or two tasks at a time, you stop being pulled in every direction. You stop trying to be everywhere at once, and you begin to be fully here, in this moment, with this one thing. The mind, released from the tyranny of endless choices, settles into a natural calm. It is the calm of the deep river, not the shallow, choppy surface. You discover that peace isn't something you find outside yourself, waiting for the perfect quiet moment. It is already here, in the space you create by choosing simplicity, by being present with what is truly before you right now. So take a breath now, wherever you are. Notice the single thing you're doing or the single thought occupying your mind. Can you gently release the pressure to do more, to think more, to be more? Can you find the peace that exists in the simplicity of this one thing? It is not a grand achievement, but the quiet realization that you have always been enough, just as you are. right here in this moment of ordinary action. This is the deep peace that arises when we stop chasing the next thing and rest in the sufficiency of what is. As the next moment of tension approaches, whether it is a difficult conversation or an unexpected challenge, remember this simplicity. The space between the rush and the response is where stillness lives. We now explore how to maintain that stillness even when the storm of conflict arrives. Life's demands never pause, yet within their relentless flow, stillness is not found by fleeing but by meeting each moment with a gentle presence. When the world feels overwhelming, when emails pile up or voices rise too loud, remember this: your breath is already here, steady and calm, offering an anchor right where you stand. It requires no special place, no quiet room, no extra time. The breath's natural rhythm, slow, deep, effortless, is always available. A constant companion in the midst of chaos. This is not about forcing calm, but simply noticing the quiet pulse within you. The steady rhythm beneath the surface noise. Consider the old Zen story of the monk in the marketplace. Amidst the shouting merchants and bustling crowds, he stood calmly washing vegetables. A customer shouted angrily about a price, and the monk did not flinch. Instead, as the man's voice rose, the monk quietly took 3 slow breaths, feeling the cool air fill his lungs, the gentle expansion of his chest. He met the man's anger not with reaction, but with the quiet space created by those 3 breaths. The customer, disarmed by this unexpected calm, lowered his voice. The monk had not escaped the chaos. He had simply returned to his breath. And in that return, the chaos lost its power. This is the simple, profound practice we offer you now. When the pressure mounts, when your mind races toward the next demand, pause. Feel your feet on the floor. Breathe in slowly, noticing the coolness of the air. Breathe out, releasing tension. Do this 3 times. Not to push away the chaos, but to step out of its current and into the present moment. The breath is not a tool to fix things. It is a reminder that you are already whole, already here. It is the quiet space between thoughts where peace resides. You do not need to create stillness. You simply need to remember the stillness that has always been there, waiting in your own breath. Try it now. As you listen, feel your breath moving through you, naturally. Inhale. Exhale. 1 breath. 2 breaths. 3 breaths. Notice how the world does not vanish, but your reaction to it softens. The frantic pace of your thoughts slows. The tightness in your chest eases. This is not escape. It is a return to the ground of your own being. It is the simplest, most accessible way to anchor yourself in the only moment that truly matters. This one, right here. This practice of returning to breath before reacting is not just for personal peace. It is the foundation for how we move through the world with others. When we meet life's demands with this quiet space within, we carry a calm that transforms the way we listen, the way we speak, the way we connect. We no longer react from the edge of panic, but respond from the deep well of stillness we've discovered within ourselves. This prepares us to navigate relationships with calm, to meet others not as strangers in the storm, but as fellow travelers in the same quiet. Breathing moment. Do you feel that restless current beneath your thoughts sometimes? The way tomorrow's shadow stretches across today, stealing the quiet light of this very moment. This is the subtle thief of peace we often overlook. Worrying about what may come steals the very peace we seek right now. It is not that we should ignore the future, but that we are not designed to carry its weight in the present. When the mind fixates on what might happen, it forgets what is already here. What is already happening? It creates a cage of what-ifs around the simple reality of this breath, this step, this moment of being. The key is not to push these thoughts away, but to gently ask a simple question. Is this thought useful right now? Does it help me meet this moment with clarity and calm? If it does not, then it is time to let it go. Not with force, but with a soft release. Imagine a river flowing over smooth stones. It does not cling to the shape of the rocks it has passed. It moves forward, carrying the water it needs for this very stretch of the path. Tomorrow's waters will flow when tomorrow's stones are reached. There is no need to carry the riverbed of tomorrow through today's current. A Zen master once sat by a rushing stream, his student anxiously fretting about an important meeting the next day. The master simply took a small stone, placed it gently in the water, and watched it float downstream. He said, "Look, the stone does not worry about the rocks it will meet later. It moves with the current, carrying only what is necessary for the journey ahead. Your mind is like that stone. It carries the weight of the stream only when it tries to hold the future in its current. Release the stone of tomorrow, and the river of now flows freely." This is not about ignoring responsibility. It is about recognizing that your capacity to act wisely, to respond with care, is only available when you are fully present in the here and now. When you are caught in the grip of future worry, your energy is divided, your attention scattered, and your capacity to truly see and meet what is actually happening diminishes. The present moment, however, is always available. It is not a place you must reach. It is the only place you ever are. So, try this now. Notice a worry about tomorrow rising within you. Pause softly. Ask, is this thought useful right now? If it is not, acknowledge it gently, as you might acknowledge a passing cloud, and then bring your attention back to the natural rhythm of your breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. This breath is not a tool to escape the world. It is the anchor of your inherent stillness, already present within you. It is the quiet center from which all clear action arises. Resting in this simple awareness, you release the illusion that you must control the unfolding of time. You stop trying to build a fortress around tomorrow with the stones of today. You allow the river to flow as it will, knowing it will reach its destination when the time is right. This gentle release, this returning to the present without resistance, dissolves the tight grip of worry. It reveals the deep peace that was never lost, only obscured by the noise of what has not yet arrived. This is the liberation found not in planning the future, but in fully inhabiting the only moment where peace can ever be found. This releases the need to control outcomes. Conflict often feels like a storm within us, a wave of heat rising in the chest when someone speaks harshly or a situation turns tense. We feel the pull to defend, to argue, to match the energy with our own. This reaction, this automatic flinching, is where the real disturbance begins. It's not the words or the situation that create the deepest pain. It's our reaction to them. True stillness doesn't come from forcing calm or avoiding the storm. It arises from a different place, the space between the trigger and our response. It's the quiet pause before the word escapes, the moment where clarity can form. This is the heart of non-reactivity. Imagine a student, frustrated and loud, confronting a Zen master about a teaching. The student's voice is sharp, his face flushed with anger. The master, sitting calmly, doesn't flinch. There is no defensive word, no raised tone to match the heat. The master simply meets the student's energy with deep, quiet presence. The student's shout hangs in the air for a moment, then falters. The tightness in his shoulders eases. The anger, no longer met with a mirror of its own force, begins to soften. The master's stillness wasn't passive. It was an active, effortless disarming. It didn't seek to win or prove anything. It simply was, and in that being, the tension dissolved like mist under the morning sun. The master didn't need to say a word to release the storm. His calm presence was the space where the storm could no longer hold. This is the practice we invite you to gently explore. In the next moment, a word stings, or a situation feels like an attack. Notice the automatic pull to react. Feel the tightening, the urge to speak sharply, to defend your ground. Now, instead of following that current, pause. Not a long pause, just a single breath. Feel the space between the sting and your reply. In that tiny gap, something shifts. The frantic energy softens. The need to win fades. Clarity emerges from the quiet. You don't have to control the other person. You simply allow your own stillness to be the ground beneath the words. Your calm presence, This simple pause becomes the bridge, not the barrier. It disarms not through force, but through the profound, quiet certainty of your own peace. It requires no effort, no struggle. It simply asks you to be present with the space, not to fill it. This is how we truly listen. Not with the mind racing to formulate a reply, but with the heart open and the mind clear. When we release the need to react immediately, we begin to hear the other person, and more importantly, we begin to hear ourselves with new clarity. The space we create through non-reactivity allows the deeper truth beneath the words to surface, both for the other and for us. The words may still come, but the energy behind them changes. The conflict dissolves not because the words disappear, but because the reaction that fueled it has been met with stillness. This transforms how we listen to others and ourselves. Imagine the space between your words and the words of the person before you. Not the empty space we fear, but the living space where true connection happens. In our rush to respond, to fix, to be heard, we miss the deepest part of the conversation, the silence that holds it all. This is the stillness we seek, not a quiet room, but the quiet mind that hears without preparing a reply. Listen now, not to find your next word, but simply to hear the sound of the other person's voice, the breath before the words, and the space where no words are needed. In a Zen monastery, a student sat before his teacher, speaking of his struggles. The teacher listened, not with an ear to offer advice, but with an ear to simply hear. The student spoke of his anxiety, his plans, his worries. The teacher said nothing. He simply heard the sound of the student's voice, the pause after each sentence, the quiet hum of the garden outside the window, and the space between the words. When the student finally fell silent, the teacher spoke softly, "You speak of the storm, but you do not hear the stillness within the storm." The student, for the first time, heard not just the words, but the deep quiet that existed between them. He realized his own mind had been so busy planning his response, constructing his arguments, that he had never truly heard the teacher's presence or the peace within the space itself. True listening requires releasing the need to be heard, to be right, to be the one who fixes the problem. It requires sitting quietly in the space where the problem is not yet named, where the words are not yet formed. This is the practice we offer now. In your next conversation, whether with a friend, a partner, or a stranger, try this simple shift. As they speak, feel the urge to prepare your answer, to agree or disagree, to share your own story. Notice that urge, but do not follow it. Instead, gently bring your attention to the sound of their voice, the rhythm of their speech, the subtle pause before a word, and the gentle quiet that follows it. Hear the silence between their words as part of the conversation, not as an absence, but as the very ground where understanding grows. You are not listening to find something to say. You are listening to be fully present, to hear the other person as they are in this moment, without your own story interfering. In that space, the mind relaxes. The constant chatter of planning, judging, or reacting simply falls away. And in that falling away, stillness arises. It is not a forced calm, but the natural quiet that emerges when we stop pushing and simply receive. This stillness is not inside you alone. It is the space that forms between two people who truly listen to each other. It is the deep peace that we have been seeking, not as a distant state, but as the living reality of this very moment, right here, between you and the one speaking. When we listen without needing to fill that space, the stillness between us becomes the same stillness we feel beneath ancient trees, in the quiet of a mountain stream, where all movement flows from a single, deep peace. The quiet hum of the present moment holds a truth often overlooked in the rush of thought. We search for peace in the future, or mourn the past. Yet true stillness only blossoms here, now. This is not a place we force, but one we gently uncover by releasing the deep-seated wish that things were otherwise. It is the simple, radical act of meeting reality as it unfolds, without the heavy burden of, "I wish it were different." The river flows, the wind moves, the breath rises and falls, each moment already complete in its own way. Peace does not come from altering the circumstances around us, but from shifting our relationship to them, from resistance to acceptance. This is not passivity, but a profound transformation of perspective. When we stop fighting what is, the ground beneath us steadies, and the space for peace naturally opens. Consider the ancient story of the monk walking beside a rushing river. A traveler, frustrated by the current, shouted at the water, "Why must you flow so fast? Make it slow." The monk simply replied, "The river flows as it is." To ask it to be otherwise is to create only more turmoil within yourself. The traveler, startled, looked at the water again. The current was still fast, yet he felt a sudden lightness, a release from the struggle. He saw the river not as an obstacle, but as the river. The peace he sought was not in stopping the water, but in stopping his own resistance to its nature. This is the essence of embracing the present, seeing the world and our own reactions, without the filter of judgment or longing. Now, bring this gentle awareness into your own life. Notice the next time a small frustration arises, a delay in traffic, a word that stung, a task that feels overwhelming. Feel the familiar pull to wish it were different. Pause. Breathe. Simply observe the situation as it is, without adding your story. See the traffic jam, not as unfair, but as the current flow of the moment. Hear the sharp word, not as an attack, but as the speaker's present state. Feel the task not as a burden, but as the activity of this very moment. This is not about ignoring difficulty, but about meeting it without the extra layer of inner conflict. Where you feel resistance, that is the very point to gently release it. Let the wish for a different moment dissolve, and rest in the warmth of your own being. Right here. The peace you seek is already present in this simple act of seeing clearly. This quiet surrender to what is, this deep meeting of reality without distortion, is the heart of silent awareness. It is the still point where all mental noise fades, and the true nature of things and of ourselves becomes perfectly clear. It is the natural resting place of the mind. Once the effort to change the moment is released, this is where true peace is found, not in the distance, but in the very ground of the present moment, waiting for us to simply arrive. As we continue our journey from the gentle acceptance of reality in the previous chapter, we find ourselves stepping deeper into the heart of non-dual awareness. You may have noticed in mindful listening that true connection arises not in the words themselves, but in the quiet space between them. This quiet space is already a form of deep peace, a natural state waiting to be recognized. Now we move beyond simple acceptance to understand that peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but the very essence of being when we stop grasping at outcomes. Attachment to how things should be, whether in a conversation, a project, or even a single moment, creates the very suffering we seek to avoid. It is like holding onto a leaf as it falls. The tighter we cling, the more we feel its inevitable loss. Instead, we learn to see every experience, every thought, every feeling, as a temporary visitor passing through the spaciousness of our awareness. They come, they stay for a while, and they go, just as clouds drift across the sky. They are not permanent residents claiming ownership of our inner landscape. When we stop insisting that a moment must last, that a result must unfold a certain way, we release the invisible tension that tightens the heart. This is not indifference, it is profound freedom. The river flows without clinging to the banks it touches, without resistance to the rocks it meets. It simply is, moving with the land's shape. Similarly, when we observe a difficult conversation, not as a threat to be controlled, but as a natural current of interaction, we find a calm that was always there beneath the surface. In the stillness between your thoughts, you might notice how often you are already holding on to something. A desire for peace, a worry about the future, a need for things to be different. This subtle clinging is the root of restlessness. The practice is not to force stillness, but to gently notice the grip and soften it. When you feel frustration rising because a project isn't progressing as planned, pause softly. Notice the tightness in your chest, the mental replay of how it should have been. Then, with a simple breath, let the image of the river return. See the frustration as a passing cloud, not a permanent storm. Feel the ground of awareness beneath it, unshaken. This isn't about denying the frustration. It's about recognizing it as a temporary visitor. As you release the need for it to be otherwise, you discover the deep peace that was never lost, only obscured by the noise of clinging. It is not something you create. It is the natural state of mind when you stop trying to fix or change the present moment. You might find yourself standing on the riverbank, watching the water flow, feeling the cool air, hearing the birds, all without needing to hold any of it. That quiet, spacious awareness is your true nature, resting effortlessly. This allows us to rest in pure awareness without effort. Settle into your posture with a gentle ease, allowing your body to find its natural balance. Notice the quiet space beneath the surface of your thoughts, the soft stillness that holds everything. This is not a place we create through effort, but the very ground of awareness itself, always present. It is the background silence beneath the sound of your breath, beneath the rustle of leaves outside, beneath the very flow of thought. We often chase peace as if it were a destination, a state to be achieved. But true stillness is not found by forcing the mind to be quiet. It is discovered by simply resting in the awareness that already knows the quiet. Imagine the sound of a temple bell, its deep resonance filling the air. You hear the bell clearly, then it fades into the silence. Yet that silence was always there, the space where the sound arose and dissolved. The bell's sound is temporary, but the silence that held it was never disturbed. It was the unchanging ground. Similarly, thoughts come and go like clouds passing through the sky. They do not alter the vast, clear space of awareness itself. This awareness is not the thoughts, nor the sounds, nor the sensations. It is the silent presence that notices them all, the quiet witness that remains unchanged by whatever appears within it. It is the deep peace that has never moved, that has always been. Now, gently turn your attention inward. Notice the space around your breath as you inhale and exhale. Feel the softness of your awareness, holding the sensation of air moving through your body. Listen to the sounds around you, the distant hum of the world, the quiet hum of your own presence. Do not follow the sounds. Do not chase the thoughts. Simply notice the background where all sound and thought arises and falls away. Feel the subtle quiet that is always there, even when the mind seems loud. This is not an empty void. It is the full, deeply calm space of pure awareness, the unshakable ground beneath all experience. Rest here for a moment. You are not trying to become still. You are simply recognizing that stillness is your natural state, the very fabric of your being. It is not something you attain, it is what you are, beneath the surface. This recognition is not intellectual. It is a direct, felt experience of being rooted in a stillness that cannot be shaken. It is the profound peace that arises not from the absence of sound or thought, but from knowing the quiet space within which all sound and thought happens. It is the deep peace that has no beginning and no end, simply because it is the ground of everything. When we rest in this silent awareness, the need to control or change what is dissolves. We simply are fully present, deeply calm, without effort. This is the deep peace that comes from knowing we are already at home within the boundless stillness of awareness. As we now explore how nature mirrors this stillness, notice how the river flows without resistance, how the mountain stands without moving, how the sky holds all clouds without disturbance. The quiet ground remains. Sit quietly now, letting the sounds of the world soften around you. Feel the ground beneath you, steady and silent. This is not about forcing silence, but about recognizing the deep peace already present within. Nature holds no such struggle. Observe a tree standing in the wind, its branches moving with the air, yet its roots deeply anchored in the earth. It does not strain to be still, it simply is, rooted and present, breathing with the rhythm of the earth itself. The tree does not think, "I must be still," nor does it resist the wind. It stands without effort, a quiet teacher of effortless presence. Now watch a river flowing over smooth stones. It moves with the land's gentle slope, never fighting the current, never demanding a different path. The water changes its shape with every bend, yet the essence of its movement remains unchanging, fluid, responsive, yet always itself. This is the stillness of nature, not absence of motion, but the unchanging presence within the constant flow. The river does not chase its destination, it simply flows, and in that flow, it is perfectly at rest. The tree does not cling to its leaves, it releases them to the wind, knowing the branch remains. Nature teaches us this through its very existence. Stillness is not a place we reach, but the very ground of our being, the unchanging awareness that holds all change. When you notice the wind in the leaves, feel the river's cool touch. See the mountain holding the sky. You're not looking at a scene. You are being shown the nature of your own awareness. The wind moves, the leaves fall, the river changes course, yet the stillness within remains. It is the space where the wind and the leaves meet, the quiet where the river flows. This is not something to understand with the mind, it is to be felt in the quiet space between your thoughts. Next time you sit by water or under a tree, do not seek to capture the moment. Simply rest in the noticing. Let the river's flow become your breath. the tree's rooted calm become your posture. Feel how the movement of the world does not disturb the stillness within. The river changes, yet the water's nature remains. The wind stirs the leaves, yet the tree's presence is undisturbed. Your awareness is like this, unchanging, present, holding all experience without being touched by it. You do not need to create stillness. You only need to remember that it is already here, as natural as the mountain's shadow or the river's current. This is the deepening we seek, not to become still, but to recognize the stillness that has always been. The leaves fall, the river flows, the wind shifts, and you rest in the unchanging presence that holds it all. You rest not by forcing calm, but by simply being aware of the calm that is already your nature. In this quiet observation, the separation between observer and observed dissolves. There is only the river, the tree, the breath, and the stillness that is all of them. And in that noticing, you find yourself resting in pure awareness. As you breathe in, breathe out, notice the quiet space between the thoughts. This space isn't something you've earned or achieved. It's not a destination you're striving toward. It's simply the natural ground of your being, always present, always known. You don't need to create stillness. You don't need to chase it. Stillness is your true nature, not a state you build. The effort to find it only creates a distance between you and what you already are. So stop seeking. Stop pushing. Simply rest in the knowing that is already here, right now, in this very breath. This is the essence of Zen, being without doing, knowing without grasping. Awareness isn't a thing you manufacture in your mind. It's not an object you hold on to. It's the very fabric of your existence, the clear mirror that reflects all experience without ever needing to change. Imagine a still pond. The water holds the image of the sky, the trees, the clouds passing overhead. The ripples come and go, but the water itself remains undisturbed. It doesn't try to smooth the ripples or chase the clouds. It simply holds the whole scene, deeply, effortlessly. This is how awareness functions. It holds the entire landscape of your experience, the sounds, the feelings, the thoughts without needing to control it or make it different. There's no separate observer trying to watch the awareness. There's only the knowing, the presence itself, as natural as the air you breathe. When you rest here, without adding anything, without needing to fix or improve the moment, you discover a deep peace that isn't dependent on anything outside of itself. It's not a feeling that comes and goes. It's the unchanging foundation beneath all feelings. You might have thought stillness was something you had to cultivate through long practice or special techniques. But the truth is, you've been resting in it all along, even when you were caught in the busyness of life. The only thing that was missing was the simple recognition of it. Now, as you notice this quiet knowing within, see how it's not separate from the world. The awareness that holds your breath also holds the rustling of leaves outside the window. It holds the sound of a distant car, the warmth of the sun, the quiet hum of the room. There is no separation between the observer and the observed here. There's only the seamless flow of knowing. This is the deep peace that requires no effort. It's not a special state you enter. It's simply your natural state, recognized. So take a moment. Let go of the need to make anything happen. Let go of the idea that stillness must be found. Simply rest in the knowing that is already here, in the space of your own presence. Notice how the mind might still chatter, but beneath it, there's a deep quiet, a quiet that is always there. This quiet isn't empty. It's full of the simple, clear knowing of being. It's the peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's the peace that is simply being. Now, as you move through your day, carry this knowing gently. Notice how this awareness, this deep peace, is already present in every moment. Even in the busyness of relationships, in the quiet space of stillness, we discover that peace is not something we chase, but the very ground of our being. This deep calm, like a still pond reflecting the sky without effort, flows through every moment of our lives. It is not separate from our relationships. It is the natural state from which we connect. When we carry this awareness into conversation, words arise not from the turbulence of reaction, but from the quiet center within. Speaking from stillness means our words are not shaped by frustration or fear, but by a clear presence that holds space for others. This is the foundation of true connection. Consider the ancient story of the monk who walked through a village. An angry man confronted him, shouting accusations, his face flushed with rage. The monk paused, not with hesitation, but with the ease of a mountain holding the wind. He simply listened, his eyes calm, his breath steady. When the man finished, the monk spoke gently, "I hear your pain." The man, surprised by this quiet response, softened. He left not with anger, but with a sense of being truly seen. The monk did not create calm. He simply allowed it to be the channel through which his words flowed. His stillness was not emptiness, but fullness, a deep peace that met the storm without stirring the water. This is the practice we invite you to embrace. The next time a conversation stirs your emotions, before you speak, pause. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Let the words settle within you like a stone in clear water. Do not rush to fill the silence with reaction. Ask yourself, do these words come from a place of peace or from the echo of my own worry? If your heart feels tight, breathe again. Let the pause be a bridge between the storm and the calm. This small act is not about controlling others, it is about honoring the stillness within you. When we speak from that place, our words become a gift, not a weapon. They carry the quiet strength of awareness, allowing both speaker and listener to rest in the clarity of the moment. This mindful pause transforms how we move through the ordinary moments of connection. It softens the edges of misunderstanding. It turns a simple exchange into a shared moment of peace. And as this practice deepens, it becomes clear that the deepest conflict is not with others, but with the restless mind that seeks to control the flow of life. By choosing stillness in our words, we step out of that cycle. We meet the world not as a battlefield, but as a garden where peace grows naturally when we stop trying to force it. This transforms how we navigate conflict with others. In the quiet spaces between words, something profound happens. It is not emptiness, but a deepening, a quieting that holds more peace than any spoken phrase ever could. This is the stillness of the unspoken, where presence speaks louder than language. When we pause before speaking, we step into a moment of pure awareness. That breath, that gentle silence before words form, is not an absence but a fullness, a space where true connection begins. Words often carry our anxiety, our need to be heard, but in the unspoken pause, we meet each other without the weight of performance. We simply are together in the quiet hum of shared presence. Consider a simple moment, two friends sitting across from each other after a long day. The tea is poured, the steam rising softly. One might say, "You seem tired," but instead, they simply watch the other's face, noticing the slight tension in the shoulders, the quiet sigh. No words are needed. The silence between them is not awkward. It is a gentle holding, a mutual recognition of the moment in that space. The connection deepens. The friend feels seen without explanation, understood without effort. The unspoken presence becomes a bridge, far stronger than any well-chosen sentence. It is the quiet acknowledgement that we are both here, in this moment, exactly as we are. This is the essence of stillness in relationship, not the absence of interaction, but the presence of calm awareness within it. Notice the space before you speak next time. When a friend shares something difficult, pause. Feel the breath in your own body, the quiet space between their words and your response. Do not rush to fill it. Let the silence be a soft cushion beneath your words, a moment where you truly hear, rather than merely prepare to speak. This pause is not empty. It is the fertile ground where peace grows. In that stillness, you meet the other not as a problem to solve or a story to fix, but as a fellow traveler in the present moment. Your calm becomes a gift, a silent offering of your own centeredness. This is how unspoken presence transforms connection. It dissolves the illusion that we must always be speaking to be present, revealing that true connection thrives in the quiet space where words are unnecessary. Reflect on your own interactions. When was the last time you truly listened without planning your next words? When did silence between you and someone you care about feel like a shared breath, not a gap? That moment of stillness, that unspoken understanding, is the heart of peace in relationship. It is not something we create through effort. It is the natural state of awareness when we stop trying to control the conversation and simply rest in the quiet space of being together. It is effortless, deep, and profoundly calming for both parties. This is the peace that is already within you, waiting to be noticed in the spaces between words. As you move through your day, carry this quiet awareness into every interaction. Notice the stillness that exists, even in the busiest room, the unspoken calm that flows when you meet another person without words. Let this be your anchor. We now explore how to maintain stillness in movement. We often believe that peace in relationships requires careful management, a gentle steering of every word, every gesture, every unspoken shift in the air between us. We hold tight to the idea that if we only say the right thing, guide the conversation just so, or shape the other person's response, then harmony will follow. This constant striving, this subtle tightening of the grip on how others should be or what they should feel, is the very thing that creates the turbulence we seek to avoid. Control, in its many forms, is not the path to peace. It is the barrier. True peace flows only when we release the illusion that we can, or even should, control the unfolding of another's experience. Surrender is not passivity. It is the deep release of the exhausting effort to bend the world to our expectations. Consider the Zen master and his student practicing with a bowl of water. The master asks the student to hold the bowl steady while walking. The student clenches his fingers, tenses his arms, focusing fiercely on preventing any spill. The water sloshes violently, spilling over the sides. The master then says softly, "Place your hand gently, like holding a flower. Be present with the bowl, but do not grasp it. Let the water rest in its own nature." The student relaxes his fingers, softens his focus, and the water remains perfectly still. The spill was never the water's fault. It was the student's tight grip that caused the disturbance. In relationships, when we grip tightly with our expectations, our need to direct, our fear of the unknown, we create the very chaos we try to prevent. The other person, like the water, simply is. Our tight control is the disturbance. Notice now, in your own daily interactions, the subtle moments where the need to control arises. Perhaps it is when your partner seems distant and you immediately plan how to fix it, how to make them smile. Or when a friend shares something difficult and you feel compelled to offer advice before they've even finished, wanting to steer the conversation toward what you believe is best. Feel the slight tension in your chest, the mental effort of trying to shape the outcome. That tension is the barrier. The practice is not to stop caring, but to notice the grip, to gently loosen it, and simply be present with the other as they are, right now, without the burden of needing to control the result. Breathe. Let go of the need to manage their reaction. Allow the connection to exist as it naturally unfolds, without your frantic steering. In that softening, in that release of the illusion of control, something profound happens. The space between you becomes lighter, clearer, filled not with the weight of expectation, but with the quiet possibility of genuine presence. The peace you sought is not found in the control you exert, but in the stillness you discover when you release the need to hold on. This allows us to find stillness in action, in the quiet space between words, where presence deepens connection more than any spoken phrase. We find ourselves standing at the edge of a profound shift as we release the need to control every interaction. We begin to see relationships not as static structures, but as living currents. All things change. Peace comes not from resisting this truth, but from embracing it with open hands. Relationships are not fixed stones set in the earth. They are flowing rivers, shifting with the seasons, carrying new currents and revealing different depths with each passing moment. To cling to a single shape, a single feeling, is to fight the river itself. It is this very resistance, this grasping at permanence, that creates the ripples of anxiety within us. True peace arises when we understand that impermanence is not the enemy of peace. It is its very ground, the fertile soil from which calmness naturally unfolds. Imagine watching a river flow past smooth stones. The stones remain, yet the water moves constantly, carving its path with gentle persistence. The stones do not fight the water, they simply hold their place, allowing the current to shape the space around them. In the same way, when we meet a loved one, a friend, or even a stranger, we can hold our own presence like those stones, steady, rooted, yet fully open to the river of their changing moods, words, and needs. We do not try to stop the flow or force it into a shape we prefer. Instead, we simply notice the way their voice shifts with laughter, the quiet pause before a difficult word, the sunlit moment that fades as clouds pass. We see the relationship not as a fixed point, but as a continuous breathing movement. This is not passivity, it is deep, active presence. It is releasing the illusion that we must manage the river's course, and instead, feeling the water's cool touch on our awareness. Notice when your partner speaks differently today, or when a friend seems distant. Do you feel the old urge to fix it, to make it return to what you remember? Instead, try resting in the flow. Feel the space between your breath and theirs. See the relationship as a river, not a stone. The river changes, sometimes calm, sometimes rushing, but it remains a river. The peace you seek is not found in stopping the change, but in knowing that change is the river's nature, and you are part of its current. When you stop fighting the flow, the deep peace that has always been there begins to surface, clear and quiet as the water over stones. This is not resignation. It is a gentle acceptance that honors the truth of things as they are. This understanding naturally leads us to the practice of non-doing. It is not about doing less, but about doing without the weight of control, without the need to shape the river. We simply allow the current to move through us as the river moves through the stones. This is the heart of stillness in relationships, where peace is not something we create, but something we simply recognize, like the river's quiet strength beneath the surface. Imagine the river flowing past your window. You notice its constant movement, yet the water itself remains still beneath the surface current. This is the natural state you have been seeking. In the previous chapter, we explored releasing the illusion of control in relationships, embracing the river's flow rather than trying to hold its water in fixed stones. Now we move deeper into the heart of that release. True peace does not come from managing the river's course, but from resting within the stillness beneath the flow. This is the practice of non-doing. Zen is not about adding more to your life, not about achieving some future state of calm. It is about being less busy, not in the sense of having fewer tasks, but in the profound sense of releasing the inner pressure to be more. You are already complete. You do not need to earn your peace or prove your worth through effort. The constant striving to become something better is the very thing that keeps you restless. Freedom is not found in the next achievement, but in the quiet knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are, right now. It is the deep peace of resting in your own being, without needing to fix or change anything. Consider the old Zen master sitting by the stream. A student rushes over, breathless, asking for the secret to instant peace. The master simply points to a leaf floating on the water. The leaf does not strain to move downstream. It does not try to be a different leaf. It simply is carried by the current, moving with the water's natural rhythm. It does not seek to stop the flow or force a different path. It rests in the knowing that it is part of the river. The master says nothing. The leaf's movement is effortless, its stillness complete. This is non-doing. It is not laziness. It is the absence of resistance to what is. It is the mind that stops pushing and starts flowing. So when you feel the familiar pull of busyness, the urge to fix, to achieve, to become more, pause. Notice the tension in your shoulders, the racing thought. Breathe gently. Ask yourself softly, am I doing this because I believe I'm not enough? Or can I simply rest in the knowing that I already am? Let the effort to be more dissolve. Let the current of your life carry you without your constant resistance. Feel the space that opens when you stop wrestling with the present moment. This is the freedom of non-doing. It is not passive. It is the active choice to stop creating inner conflict. It is the deep peace of being fully present, without the burden of needing to change the present into something else. Rest in this knowing now. Feel the weight of the effort to be more lifting. Notice the quiet space that remains. This is your natural state, always available. You do not need to reach for it. You simply need to stop the effort to move away from it. The busyness of the mind is the illusion. The stillness beneath it is your true nature. This is how the river flows, without effort, without struggle, perfectly at ease. This reveals how stillness is found in movement. We often believe stillness requires stopping. That peace means becoming motionless, a fixed point in the rushing stream of life. But this is the very illusion we seek to release. True stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the deep, unshakable ground from which all movement arises and returns. It is the quiet center within the turning wheel. When we grasp for stillness by stopping our steps, we only create tension, a struggle against the natural flow. The path to peace lies not in halting the river, but in resting within the river's own current. Consider the simple act of walking. Most of us walk without awareness, lost in thought, the body moving mechanically while the mind races. But what if we truly walked? Feel the gentle pressure of your foot meeting the earth, the soft give of the ground beneath you. Feel the subtle shift of your weight as you lift your heel, the quiet release as your toes touch down. In that moment, the movement itself becomes the stillness. The rhythm of your steps is not separate from the calm within. It is the expression of it. Your breath flows with each step, not fighting the motion, but moving with it. The peace you seek is not found by waiting for the journey to end. It is found within the very motion of the journey. The ground holds you, the air supports you, and the space between each step is filled with calm. This is the natural state, movement expressing stillness, not disturbing it. This is the practice of non-doing in action. It is not passive inaction. It is active engagement without the burden of striving. When you walk, you do not try to walk perfectly or reach a destination with urgency. You simply walk, fully present in each step. The destination is not the point. The walking itself is the path. The pressure to hurry, to get somewhere, dissolves because you are already there, in the quiet center of the movement. Peace flows through your hands as you work, through your words as you speak, through your presence as you sit. When you stop fighting the natural flow of what is happening right now, you are not trying to become still. You are simply resting in the stillness that has always been there, allowing movement to be its own expression. So, as you move through your day, take one small moment. Feel your feet on the floor as you shift your weight. Notice the space between your thoughts as you breathe. Feel the stillness within your steps, not as a separate thing, but as the very nature of the step itself. This is not a technique to master, it is a gentle invitation to recognize what is already true. The river flows without measuring its current, and so does your peace. The ground beneath your feet is always steady, even as the world moves around you. You are not separate from this stillness. You are the stillness expressing itself in motion. This understanding dissolves the illusion of separation between inner calm and outer action. It is the freedom that comes from knowing you are already whole, moving within the great stillness of the universe. We now explore how this deep stillness transforms our relationship with time. Consider the quiet rhythm of your morning routine. You pour water into a cup, the simple motion unfolding without urgency. You notice the warmth of the ceramic, the sound of the water flowing, the gentle focus required for this single act. This is not passive waiting, it is active presence. It is the very essence of peace found not in grand achievements, but in the uncluttered space created by doing one thing with full attention. When we release the pressure to multitask, to plan the next step while performing the current one, we allow stillness to emerge from the ordinary. We dissolve the illusion that peace must be sought elsewhere, in some distant state of being. Instead, peace becomes the quality of this very moment, this simple action done completely. In the Zen tradition, this understanding is often illustrated through the simplest of acts. Imagine a monk washing a single bowl in a monastery courtyard. The sun is warm, the air still. He does not think about the next task, the conversation to come, or the need to finish quickly. His entire being is present in the movement of his hands. The feel of the water, the sound of the cloth against the ceramic. There is no separation between the monk and the washing. The act is not merely physical, it is a manifestation of his wholehearted being. The bowl is washed, not because he must, but because he is fully present in the washing. This is the peace of simple actions. It is not a state of inactivity, but a state of complete engagement where the mind is not scattered, where there is no internal noise of shoulds or next steps. The space created by this focused attention is the very space where deep peace resides, unshakable and natural. This is the freedom that comes with non-attachment. We are not freeing ourselves from the action, but from the mental clutter we add to it. We release the illusion that we must be constantly doing more, achieving more, to find peace. Instead, we discover that peace is already here, in the quality of our attention as we stir our tea, as we walk to the mailbox, as we speak a single word with care. It is the quiet certainty that comes from knowing we are fully present, not because we are perfect, but because we are simply here, doing this one thing. This is not passive, it is deeply active presence. The mind is not empty, but it is clear. Thoughts may arise, but they do not pull us away from the task at hand. The task becomes the anchor, the single point of focus that dissolves the sense of separation between ourselves and the world. Reflect now on your own hands. What is the one simple thing you're doing right now? Not the next thing, not the past thing, but this very act of listening, of breathing, of being. Notice the quality of your attention. When you are fully present in that single action, even if it is washing a dish or answering a simple question, you are not separate from peace. You are peace itself, expressed through the clarity of focused presence. There is no need to seek it elsewhere, no need to become something different. It is the natural state of being when we stop multiplying our thoughts and simply do one thing, completely. This is the profound simplicity that dissolves the illusion of separation. It reveals that freedom is not found in the absence of action, but in the quality of our engagement with each moment. It is the deep peace that arises when we stop trying to control the flow and instead rest within the stillness of simple, focused action. This leads us to the stillness within silence. Imagine the quiet weight of a stone resting in still water, undisturbed by the ripples it creates. There is no striving to be still, it simply is. This is the essence we explore now. Often, we approach presence as if it were a destination we must reach, a state we must achieve through willful effort. We tighten our focus, trying harder to be here, to quiet the mind, to hold on to calm. But this very effort creates the separation we seek to dissolve. The more we push to be present, the further we drift from the very stillness we desire. True presence is not a goal to chase, but the natural state of being, already whole and undisturbed, like the water holding the stone. Resting in the now without effort is not passive emptiness. It is the most profound freedom. It is the deep peace that arises when we stop wrestling with the moment and simply allow it to be. We are not trying to become still. We are remembering that stillness is our inherent nature, as natural as breathing. This understanding dissolves the illusion that peace must be earned or found outside ourselves. It is not something we build through discipline, but something we release by letting go of the need to build it at all. Consider the ancient image of a monk washing a bowl. His hands move with simple, unhurried care. He does not think, "I must wash this bowl with perfect calm." There is no inner dialogue about being present. There is only the cool touch of water, the sound of the brush against ceramic, the focused awareness of the single action. His mind is not empty, but it is not busy either. There is no effort to quiet thoughts, because the action itself is the quiet. The bowl is washed, the task completed, and the monk moves on without clinging to the feeling of calm he experienced. The stillness was not the goal. It was the space in which the action naturally unfolded, unforced and complete. This is the freedom we discover when we stop trying to be still and simply rest as we are. Now, gently bring your awareness to your own breath. Notice the natural rhythm of your inhale and exhale. Do you feel a subtle tension, a slight effort to make the breath deeper or slower? That effort, even if slight, is the separation. It is the mind creating a gap between you and the present moment. Instead, soften that effort. Let the breath move as it naturally does, without shaping it. Feel the weight of your body in your seat, the sound of the room, the simple sensation of being alive right here, right now. This is not something you must do. It is simply what is happening. The stillness is already here, not as a separate state, but as the very ground of your experience. When you notice the effort to be present, simply let it go. It is not a failure, it is an invitation to return to what is already true. The freedom is not in achieving a perfect stillness, but in recognizing that stillness is your natural state, always available, always here. This effortless resting in the now, this deep and unshakable peace that requires no striving, is the ultimate liberation. It is the quiet certainty that we are already whole, already at peace, exactly as we are. We no longer seek to be separate from the world, or to be separate from our own minds. We simply rest within the boundless space of the present moment, free from the illusion of separation. We now turn inward to the silence between thoughts. Sit quietly by the riverbank or beneath a tree, allowing your breath to soften and slow. Let the noise of the world gently recede, not by forcing silence, but by simply noticing the space between sounds. Here, in this unhurried moment, nature offers its most profound lesson. Stillness is not the absence of movement, but the deep peace within which all movement unfolds. Watch a single leaf detach from its branch, spiraling downward, not with struggle, but with the quiet inevitability of its own nature. Observe a wave gather strength, rise, crash upon the shore, and dissolve back into the sea, all without a single thought of effort or resistance. Do not name the leaf red or the wave white. Do not label it autumn or ocean. Simply see the movement itself, flowing as naturally as your own breath in and out. Notice how the leaf falls without a single moment of trying to fall faster or slower, how the wave moves without concern for the shore or the sea. Nature does not resist its own flow, it simply is, completely present within the cycle of its existence. This is the effortless grace we seek within ourselves. When you watch without labeling, without the mind adding its commentary, you step out of the river of thought and into the still water at its center. You see the leaf, the wave, the falling rain, not as separate things to be understood or judged, but as expressions of the same unbroken stillness that is already within you. This is the mirror nature holds up. The stillness you seek is not something to be found outside, but the very ground of your being, revealed when you stop trying to shape the world and simply rest in its unfolding. You are not separate from the leaves fall or the waves crash. You are the quiet space in which they happen. This is the deep peace that comes not from achieving calm, but from recognizing the calm that has always been there, waiting for the mind to finally be still enough to see it. So, as you sit, let your attention rest gently on the rhythm of a bird's flight, the slow turning of a stone in the stream, the quiet sway of grass in the wind. Notice how each movement happens without strain, without the need to be anything other than what it is. Feel the subtle shift within you as you release the habit of naming, judging, or trying to hold on to the moment. The mind, so often restless and grasping, begins to soften, to settle into the natural rhythm of your own breath. You realize that effort to be still only creates more movement, more noise. True stillness arises when you stop pushing against the flow of what is and simply allow the observation to be. It is not a state you build, it is the ground you discover when you stop moving away from it. This deep connection to nature's cycles is not about seeing something new, it is about seeing the familiar with fresh eyes, free from the weight of thought. You see the leaf fall, and you see yourself falling, not as a problem to solve, but as a natural part of the whole. The peace you feel is not dependent on the leaf landing softly or the wave retreating. It is the peace of simply being present within the movement, without needing to change it. This is the stillness that mirrors your own, the unshakable calm that needs no external cause, only the gentle release of the need to be anywhere else. Notice how the water holds the reflection of the sky, clear and undisturbed, not by resisting the wind, but by being still enough to contain it. This deepens into understanding the stillness of water. Observe a still pond at dawn. The surface holds the sky, the clouds, the trees, without any effort. It simply is. The reflection isn't created, it's revealed, perfectly clear, when the water is undisturbed. This is the natural state of water, and it mirrors the natural state of our own minds when we are not stirring the surface. We often think stillness must be achieved through concentration or force, but the water teaches us otherwise. It reflects the sky effortlessly, just as stillness is our inherent condition, not a destination we must reach. Consider a gentle breeze stirring the pond. Ripples form, distorting the reflection. But the water does not struggle against the breeze or try to force the ripples away. It simply allows the disturbance to pass. The moment the breeze subsides, the water settles back into perfect calm, the reflection returning without any conscious effort to restore it. The calm wasn't lost, it was always present beneath the temporary disturbance. The water doesn't fight its nature, it returns to it naturally. This is the profound lesson for us. Our minds are like this water. When thoughts arise, like wind stirring the surface, we feel the need to grasp them, push them away, or follow them. We create more ripples through that effort. But the mind's true nature is calm, like the deep, quiet water beneath the surface ripples. The calm isn't destroyed by the thought, it's merely obscured for a moment. When we stop resisting the thought, when we stop trying to control or label the movement, the mind naturally settles back into its own inherent stillness. It doesn't require striving. It simply requires allowing the ripples to pass without adding fuel to the disturbance. Feel this in your own experience. Notice a thought passing through your mind. Instead of chasing it or fighting it, simply observe it as a ripple on the surface of the water within you. Hold the thought without judgment, without needing to change it. Feel the space around it, the deep calm that is always there, just beneath the surface of the thinking. The thought is like a leaf floating on the pond. It moves with the current, but the water beneath remains undisturbed. The calm isn't created by the absence of the leaf. It was always the water's nature. Let the thought be, and rest in the knowing that the stillness is already present, waiting for the surface to settle. This understanding transforms our relationship with the mind. We no longer see stillness as something fragile to be guarded, but as the very ground of our being, as natural as the water reflecting the sky. Effort to be still becomes unnecessary because stillness is not something we do, it is what we are. When we stop adding more ripples to the surface, the practice is simply this: to notice the stirring, to release the effort to change it, and to trust the water's natural return to calm. It is the effortless release, the unshakable peace we discovered in the previous chapter, now made visible in the quiet reflection of a pond. We now apply this to the stillness of sound, noticing how silence holds the sound without resistance. Sit beside a quiet stream where the water flows without hurry, its gentle murmur blending with the soft rustle of leaves above. Notice how the sound of the wind in the trees doesn't demand your attention or judgment. It simply is. This is the natural ground of stillness we discover when we stop naming sounds as good or bad. The chattering of birds isn't pleasant noise to be welcomed or harsh noise to be rejected. The distant rumble of a passing vehicle isn't an intrusion to be resisted. Instead, rest your awareness in the space between these sounds, the quiet that holds them both. Hear the silence as part of the music, not the absence of it. The space after the bird's call, the pause before the next rustle, is as vital as the sound itself. This is the way the world speaks without words, through the harmony of sound and silence, always present, always whole. In the ancient temple garden, a single bell rings. Its deep tone fills the air, resonating through the stillness of the afternoon. As the sound fades, You don't rush to fill the quiet with thought. You simply let the space where the sound was become part of your listening. The bell's echo dissolves into the space between its notes, and in that space, there is no need for thought, no need to judge. You hear the bell, then you hear the silence it leaves behind, and then you hear the next sound, not as a replacement, but as a continuation of the same seamless flow. The bell does not say, "This is beautiful." It simply rings. And the silence between its rings is as much a part of the truth as the sound itself. This is how sound becomes a path to stillness, not by seeking silence, but by seeing that silence is already here, woven into every moment of sound. Now, bring this awareness to your own day. Next time you hear the sound of rain on the roof, or the creak of a floorboard, or the voice of someone speaking, pause. Don't say, "I like this," or "I dislike that." Simply let the sound enter your awareness, and then let it go, noticing the quiet space that follows it. Feel how the sound dissolves, leaving behind a gentle space that was always there. This is not about forcing calm. It is about allowing the natural rhythm of sound and silence to reveal the stillness within you. When you stop naming sounds, you stop creating a world of separation. You simply hear the world as it is, without adding your story. And in that hearing, without the weight of judgment, you find yourself resting in a deep, unshakable peace. The noise of the world doesn't vanish, but it no longer disturbs your center. It becomes part of the larger song, and you are not apart from it. You are the listening space itself. This quiet observation, this willingness to hear the space between all sounds, leads us gently to the stillness of acceptance. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. Hear the wind moving through the ancient pines. Feel the gentle rhythm of the river beside the mountain path. Nature does not hold on to yesterday's rain or tomorrow's storm. It simply is, completely present in each unfolding moment. This is the deep peace we seek, not as something distant to chase, but as the very ground of our being, always here beneath the surface of thought. Now, turn your awareness inward to the quiet space where past regrets often try to take root. Regrets are echoes of the past, like the fading sound of a stone dropped into still water. They may ripple through the mind, but they are not the water itself, nor the stillness beneath. They are simply thoughts passing through the field of awareness, no more real than a cloud drifting across the sky. When you notice a wave of regret rise, perhaps the memory of a harsh word spoken, a choice made too late, pause. Do not chase it. Do not fight it. Simply observe it with the same gentle curiosity you might give to a bird landing on a branch. See it for what it is, a thought, a feeling, a temporary shape in the mind's sky. It is not a fact of your life. nor a command for how you must be now. It is not truth, it is merely an echo. This is the heart of letting go. It is not about erasing the past or pretending it never happened. It is about recognizing that the past is already gone, dissolved like mist in the morning sun. Holding on to regret is like clinging to a photograph of a landscape that no longer exists. The only place where healing and peace can be found is right here, in the living present moment. The river flows on, carrying the stones of yesterday downstream, leaving the clear water undisturbed for what is now. So too, when you notice a regret arising, gently place it down, like setting aside a worn-out stone you no longer need to carry. Acknowledge its presence without giving it power to shape your now. Feel the softness of your breath, the solid ground beneath you, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. This is where you truly are. This is where peace lives. In this simple act of noticing without judgment, without adding the weight of should have or if only, the energy of the regret begins to soften and dissolve. It loses its sharp edges, its power to pull you away from the present. You realize you were never truly trapped by the past. You were simply holding a thought that had already passed. The stillness was always there, waiting, as natural as the earth supporting the tree. You don't need to build stillness. You only need to stop building walls against the present moment. Release the need to fix the past, and the present moment opens with its own quiet, unshakable calm. Let this be your practice today. When the echo of regret sounds, meet it with a soft breath and a quiet acknowledgement. This is a thought. This is not my truth now. Then, gently return to the simple feeling of being here, breathing, present. Feel the weight lift as you release the past into the spaciousness of this moment. The river flows, the wind moves, and you are simply resting within the deep peace that is already your nature. We now rest in the stillness of acceptance. Notice your breath as it flows in and out, soft and unhurried. Feel the quiet space between each gentle inhale and exhale. This is not emptiness, but fullness, a natural resting place. Now, bring your awareness to the thoughts that arise in your mind. See them not as things to hold or chase, but as passing clouds in an open sky. Do not follow them with your attention. Do not try to stop them. Instead, simply rest in the quiet space that exists between one thought and the next. That space is not empty. It is the very essence of stillness, already present within you. It is the silence after the thought has faded, the calm that remains when the mind's surface stirs no longer. This silence is not something you create. It is your true nature, always here, always undisturbed by the movement of thoughts. You have been seeking it outside, perhaps in quiet places or perfect moments, but it is not found in the absence of sound or thought. It is found right here, in the space between, where all motion naturally settles. Imagine a monk sitting by a slow-moving river. He observes the water carrying leaves downstream, each leaf a thought, a feeling, a memory. He does not grab for the leaves, nor does he push them away. He simply rests his gaze on the river's deep, steady flow, knowing the leaves are temporary. The river is constant. The leaves come and go, but the river's stillness remains unchanged. In the same way, thoughts arise and pass through your mind, but the silence between them is your unchanging home. You do not need to become quiet. You need only remember that you are already quiet. The mind's activity is like the water's movement, but the deep stillness beneath is always there, waiting to be noticed. When a thought arises, as it will, do not chase it. Allow it to move through your awareness like a bird flying across the sky. Then, when it has passed, rest in the quiet space that follows. Feel the ease, the lightness, the deep peace that is already yours. This is not an achievement. It is simply recognizing what has always been true. You are not the thoughts that come and go. You are the vast, clear space in which they appear and disappear. This is the peace that needs no effort, no seeking, no special place. It is simply being without the need to be anything else. Next time you pause, even for a moment, notice the space between thoughts. Feel the quiet that exists before the next idea forms. Let your body soften. Let your shoulders release. Do not try to hold on to this feeling. Simply rest in its presence. It is not something you must find. It is the ground you stand on, the air you breathe, the very nature of your being. You're not trying to reach stillness. Stillness is reaching you, right now, in the space between thoughts. This is not philosophy, it is the simple truth of your experience, available to you in every single moment. As you rest here, you discover that there is no need to flee from the mind's activity, for you are already beyond it, resting in its quiet space. Now, as we deepen this practice, we turn to the gentle art of sitting with discomfort. We will explore how this same stillness, this deep peace within the silence, can be your anchor even when life feels unsettled, when the water stirs and the leaves seem to gather. For in that unshakable peace, there is no need to escape what is present. Imagine the natural impulse to move away from discomfort, to chase away the tightness in your chest or the ache in your shoulders. We often treat these sensations as invaders, enemies to be fought or escaped. But what if the true source of suffering isn't the sensation itself, but the story we weave around it? The thought, "This should not be here," or "I shouldn't feel this way." That adds layers of resistance onto the simple feeling. This is the moment to gently let go of the story and meet the sensation as it is, in the pure space of being. In the ancient Zen tea ceremony, A practitioner might hold a hot teacup, feeling the warmth seep into their palms, perhaps even a slight burn. The natural reaction might be to pull away, to flinch, to judge the heat as unpleasant. But the Zen master teaches to simply feel the warmth, to notice its quality, its intensity, without adding the story, "This is bad," or "I must get rid of it." The heat is merely heat, the presence of awareness without reaction transforms the experience. The warmth becomes part of the stillness, not something separate to be conquered. The cup feels warm, and that is all. The discomfort dissolves not by fleeing, but by meeting it with pure attention. This is the essence of sitting with discomfort without reaction. It is not about making the discomfort vanish, but about dissolving the barrier between yourself and the sensation. Feel the physical sensation, the tightness, the heat, the vibration as a neutral part of your experience, like noticing the texture of the air. Let go of the mental commentary. It shouldn't be like this. Notice how the sensation holds without judgment, simply as it is. In this space, the struggle ceases. The tightness doesn't disappear, but the suffering around it does. You rest in the feeling itself, without the added weight of resistance. This is not passive acceptance. It is active, deep presence. The stillness isn't found by avoiding the feeling, but by fully inhabiting it, right now, as it is. The space between the sensation and your reaction is where pure being, already present, becomes clear. So, as you sit quietly, perhaps feeling a familiar tension, take one soft breath. Notice the sensation without naming it or pushing it away. Feel it in your body, truly. Notice how it might shift, soften, or simply be held within a larger awareness. There is no need to fix it, to make it different. Just be with it, as the tea ceremony practitioner is with the warm cup. The space where you simply feel without adding should be is the deep peace you've always been. It is not something you create. It is the ground beneath your awareness, the stillness beneath the surface of sensation. This is the anchor, the unshakable peace that was never lost, only obscured by the noise of reaction. As you rest in this awareness, notice how the simple act of meeting discomfort with presence, without the added story, brings a quiet strength. It is a practice of returning to your inherent stillness, moment by moment. This deepens into the practice of mindful journaling, where the pen becomes a gentle guide to explore these moments of presence, without judgment on the page. Begin this practice with the gentlest breath, feeling the soft weight of your pen against the page. No need to chase clarity or force insight. Simply let your hand move, writing whatever arises without a single judgment. Notice the thought about work, the flicker of worry, the quiet hum of your breath. All these appear like ripples on a pond. See them clearly, then release them as easily as a leaf drifts from the surface. The words you write are not meant to fix anything, but to clear the space where stillness has always lived. You're not trying to create peace, you are simply making room for what is already here. This is the quiet work of mindful journaling, a mirror reflecting the calm beneath the surface of your mind. Imagine the ink spreading slowly on the page, not rushing, not resisting the paper. It simply flows, holding its shape without clinging. This is how thoughts arise in your mind, clear and present, yet never meant to stay. You write, "I feel restless," and see it as a passing cloud, not a storm. You write, "This is too much," and feel the tightness soften as you name it. The act of writing becomes a gentle release, a way to let the mental clutter settle like dust in still air. There is no right or wrong way to write, only the honesty of this moment. You might write a single word, a phrase, or a sentence that feels true. When you notice your mind adding a judgment, "I should write better," simply return to the breath and the pen. The journal becomes a safe place for the mind to be exactly as it is, without needing to change. This practice reveals something profound. The stillness was never lost. It was always the space between thoughts, the quiet beneath the words. When you write without resistance, you see how thoughts are like clouds moving across a vast, clear sky. The sky remains untouched by the clouds. Your mind is that sky. The journaling is not about filling the page, but about uncovering the space where you already rest. Notice how the act of writing itself becomes a form of listening to the quiet hum of your own being beneath the noise. You might find your pen pauses, your breath deepens, and the frantic energy of the mind softens. In that pause, there is no need to do anything. You simply are. This is not an achievement. It is the natural unfolding of what has always been present. So, when you sit with your journal, let the words flow like water finding its path. Let the thoughts arise and pass like leaves on a stream. Your only task is to be present with whatever appears, without turning away. Feel the warmth of the paper, the quiet sound of the pen, the steady rhythm of your breathing. In this simple act, you are not seeking something new. You are remembering. The clarity that comes is not from adding something, but from removing the layers of resistance that had been blocking your view of your own deep peace. Let the journaling become a quiet conversation with the stillness within. Write without fear of being wrong. Notice the thoughts as they come, like birds landing on a branch, and let them fly away when they are done. The page holds all of it, gently, without judgment. In this space, you discover that the mind's natural state is not cluttered or noisy, but clear and calm. It is only when you try to hold on to the thoughts or push them away that the storm begins. The journal is a vessel for letting go, a way to see how the mind's restlessness is not your true nature, but a temporary current. As you close the journal, feel the quiet settle within you. The words fade, but the calm remains. You have not created stillness, you have simply stopped covering it up. Now, let this quiet presence be your anchor. Let it hold you as you move through the day, knowing that beneath every thought, beneath every feeling, there is a deep, unshakable peace. This is the essence of stillness, not a place to reach, but the ground you have always stood upon. We now rest in the stillness of acceptance. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the gentle weight of your body resting. Hear the quiet hum of the present moment, not the noise of yesterday or tomorrow. This is where acceptance begins, not as a quieting of the mind, but as the deep, unshakable peace found when we simply allow life to be as it is. It is not resignation, a turning away from the world. It is not saying life should be different. It is the profound peace of saying yes to what is, right here, right now, without the friction of resistance. This is the stillness of pure being, the ground beneath all thought and feeling, where the barrier between self and reality dissolves. Consider the old Zen master sitting alone in his garden as rain begins to fall. The rain is cool, it is wet, it is unexpected. His students might expect him to sigh, to wish for sun, to seek shelter. Instead, he simply sits, feeling the cool drops on his skin, hearing the rhythm on the leaves, noticing the scent of earth rising. He does not fight the rain. He is not trying to make it stop. He meets the rain with his whole being, fully present within its presence. There is no story of, "This is inconvenient," or "Why does this always happen?" There is only the rain, the feeling of it, the quiet awareness of the moment. This is the stillness of acceptance, being the calm center within the gentle rain of life, not resisting the weather of circumstance. Now, bring this awareness gently to your own life. Notice the small resistance that flickers within you. Perhaps it is the tightness in your shoulders as you wait in traffic, the quiet judgment of a comment from a colleague, the frustration when a plan shifts. Feel the subtle energy of this should be different. Now, breathe. Soften the edges of that resistance. Without changing anything, simply say yes to the reality of this moment. Feel the coolness of the air. Hear the sound of your breath. Acknowledge the feeling without adding a story. The rain is falling. The traffic is slow. The comment was said. Acceptance means meeting it all with a heart that is open, not closed. It is not about liking it, but about ceasing to fight it. In that release, the frantic energy of resistance falls away, and the deep peace of simply being unfolding right here becomes your natural state. This is not passive waiting. It is active, vibrant presence. It is the quiet confidence of knowing you are whole exactly as you are. Right now, in this very breath, this quiet recognition, this gentle yes to what is the essence of stillness. It is not a state we achieve after much effort. It is the space that reveals itself when we stop pulling away. It is the deep peace that flows when we stop trying to make life fit our picture. It is the freedom found in resting within the truth of the moment, without needing to add a single word of resistance. This is the stillness that holds everything, that makes all things possible, that is always already here. Now we integrate all this into daily living. We carry this quiet yes into the kitchen, the office, the street, the very heart of life's ordinary moments. As you sit here now, feel the quiet space between your thoughts, the natural stillness that has always been beneath the surface. This is not a place to seek, but a presence to recognize, the deep peace already woven into the fabric of your being. We've explored how stillness is inherent, how journaling gently removes the resistance that hides it. Now we move beyond the page, into the ordinary moments where peace becomes not a distant ideal, but the very ground of your daily life. It is not found in grand gestures, but in the smallest, most ordinary pauses we choose to make. Before you begin any task, simply pause. Not a long pause, not a stop, but a single breath held in awareness. Before lifting the spoon to your morning tea, before turning on the computer, before reaching for the coffee cup, feel the space between the thought of doing and the action itself. This is the bridge. In this tiny interval, the rushing current of doing slows. You step off the edge of the future and land gently in the present moment. The water steams. The cup is warm. The sound of water in the sink is clear. This single breath is not empty. It is full of the quiet confidence that peace is already here. Not something to be earned, but something to be remembered. Consider the ancient tea ceremony. The practitioner does not rush to pour the water. They first center themselves, feeling the weight of the kettle, the sound of the water, the quiet intention in their hands. The pouring is not separate from the stillness. It flows from it. The stillness is not an absence, but the fertile ground from which the action arises. It is the same when you wash your hands before a meal. Feel the water's cool touch, the soap's scent, the rhythm of the motion. In that moment, the act of washing becomes a moment of peace, not because it is special, but because you meet it without rushing to the next thing. The task itself becomes the practice, the pause the doorway. This is how peace is woven. It is not added to life, it is revealed within it, when we stop pulling against the current of the present. When you pause before answering the email, before reacting to a comment, before starting the next task, You are not losing time. You are creating the space where stillness can be known. You are meeting life exactly as it is, without the friction of "it should be different." The resistance melts away in that single breath. The vibrant stillness we spoke of in the previous chapter is not separate from this moment. It is this moment, fully felt, fully lived. You meet the ordinary with a quiet yes, and in that yes, peace becomes tangible, not as a feeling to chase, but as the very texture of your awareness. Feel it now. As you read these words, notice the space between your breaths. Notice the sound of the room, the feel of your body in the chair. This is not an exercise. It is the natural state you have always been. The pause is not a technique, but the simple act of remembering who you are. You are not seeking stillness. You are resting in it, right here, right now, in the ordinary flow of your day. The bridge is built not in the destination, but in the small, intentional space we create before stepping forward. Having woven this quiet pause into morning routines, meeting life's ordinary moments without resistance, we now turn our attention to the digital world, where the need for stillness is perhaps most profound. How do we bring this same deep peace to the constant stream of notifications? The pull of the screen, the endless scroll. Let us explore that next. Imagine the quiet hum of a room where no thought presses forward. No urgency pulls you toward the next thing. This is not silence forced upon you, but the natural stillness that arises when your attention settles completely into the present moment. In the midst of life's constant pull, we often mistake busyness for meaning. Yet true peace is found not in escaping the noise, but in focusing deeply within it. This is the essence of single-pointed focus, choosing one simple thing to hold with your full presence, letting everything else dissolve into background. No multitasking, no mental commentary, just this single point of attention held gently, without effort. It becomes your anchor when the world feels like a storm. Consider the story of a young monk in a Zen monastery. One morning, he was assigned to wash the dishes in the kitchen, a task he had done countless times before. His mind, like ours, was already drifting toward the next duty, the next thought. But the master, noticing his distracted gaze, simply said, "Wash the dish." Not "do the dishes," but "wash this one dish." The monk paused, looked at the single bowl before him, felt the cool water, noticed the gentle curve of the ceramic, heard the soft sound of the brush against its surface. In that focused moment, the noise of the kitchen, the worry of tomorrow, all fell away. He was simply washing the dish, and in that simplicity, the dish became the whole world. This is not about the dish itself, but about the mind's ability to find its center in one small point of contact with reality. You can practice this right now. in the ordinary moments you already live. When you breathe, feel the air entering your nostrils, the slight rise of your chest. When you sip your tea, notice the warmth, the taste, the sound of the liquid. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet, the movement of your legs. There is no need to make it grand. The power lies in the simplicity of choosing one point and staying there. This focused attention is not a struggle. It is a return to your natural state. In this concentrated presence, the frantic energy of the mind settles. The chaos of the world does not disappear, but your relationship to it changes. You are no longer swept away by the current. You stand steady, anchored in the single point of your attention. Here, in this deep focus, the peace you have been seeking is not found outside, but revealed within the very act of being fully present. It is the quiet recognition that you are already whole, already at rest, simply because you are here now. This is how deep peace is embodied, not as a distant goal, but as the natural rhythm of your attention when it is not scattered. It is the calm confidence that comes from knowing you can return to this single point, again and again, no matter what arises. So let this moment be your anchor. Feel the breath, notice the sound of the wind. Rest in the simplicity of this one thing. And as you do, you will find yourself naturally resting in the body's natural rhythm. Feel your breath moving gently in and out, not trying to change it, not pushing it to be slower or deeper. Just notice its natural flow, like the quiet rhythm of a river flowing steadily over smooth stones. Feel the subtle pulse beneath your skin, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the quiet hum of your body simply being. This is not something to create or achieve. It is already here, present in every cell, every moment of your physical existence. Stillness is not a place we go to find. It is the very ground of our being, the natural state beneath the surface of our thoughts and activities. When we stop trying to force calm and simply rest in the quiet rhythm of our body, we discover that peace is not separate from us. It is the space where our breath moves, where our pulse beats, where we simply exist without effort. Imagine sitting quietly with a cup of tea. You feel the warmth of the cup in your hands, the steam rising gently, the familiar scent filling the air. You take a slow sip, and as you do, you notice the warmth spreading through your throat, the taste on your tongue, the slight coolness of the cup against your fingers. You don't try to make the moment more peaceful. You simply allow the experience to be as it is. The thoughts about your to-do list might arise, but you don't chase them or push them away. You gently return to the feeling of the tea, the sound of the wind outside, the steady rhythm of your own breath. In this simple act, you are resting in the body's natural rhythm. You are not seeking stillness. You are simply resting in the present moment, held within the quiet pulse of your own life. This is the deep peace that is always available, not as a distant goal, but as the immediate reality of your embodied existence. It is the calm water settling after the storm, not because the storm has vanished, but because you are simply resting in the stillness that was always there beneath the surface. Resting in the body's natural rhythm means letting go of the need to fix, to improve, to make it different. It means noticing the gentle movement of your breath without trying to control it, feeling the quiet strength of your seated posture without straining. It means allowing the sounds of the world to come and go, like clouds passing through a clear sky, without attaching to them or trying to stop them. This is not passive waiting. It is an active, gentle presence. It is the profound peace that comes from knowing you are already whole, already settled. Exactly as you are in this very moment, the body knows its own rhythm. It knows how to breathe, how to rest, how to be present without effort. All we need to do is stop trying to be somewhere else and simply rest in that knowing, in that natural pulse. When you feel the quiet beat of your own heart, the easy flow of your breath, you are touching the deepest layer of peace that has never left you. It is not something you must earn. It is simply the way you are, when you stop moving away from yourself. Now, as we carry this awareness into the digital world where stillness is most urgently needed, remember this quiet truth: the body's natural rhythm is the anchor. It is always here, waiting for us to rest within it. Consider the quiet rhythm of your breath as you sit here now. This chapter continues the gentle unfolding of deep peace, not as something to find far away, but as the natural state already present within the simple act of being. We have seen how stillness settles like calm water after the storm, how peace arises not through escape, but through anchoring in one present moment. We have recognized that peace is not a destination, but the quiet home of embodied presence, already here when we release the striving. Now, we bring this same awareness into the space where distraction often lives, our digital world. Technology itself is neutral. It can be a simple tool, a gentle bridge to connection, or a moment of calm reflection. Yet, too often, we reach for our devices not with intention, but as a habit, a reflex woven into the fabric of our days. Notice the moment before you lift your phone, the gentle pull, the subtle urge to scroll, to check, to fill the quiet space. This is the point of practice. Do not rush to meet that urge. Pause. Feel the space between the thought and the action. Let your breath soften in that small, deliberate pause. You return to your center. You step out of the current of habit and into the flow of presence. Imagine the phone lights up with a notification. The automatic hand reaches out. Instead, feel the quiet space before the reach. Notice the subtle tension in the shoulder, the flicker of the mind wanting to know. Breathe. Simply notice. Then, decide, is this truly needed now? Is this serving your presence or pulling you away from it? If it is, then use the device with full attention. Read a single thoughtful message. Listen to a short, calming sound. Let the interaction be a moment of connection, not a distraction. If it is not needed, let it be. Place the device down gently, feeling the weight of the quiet space return. This is not about deprivation. It is about returning to the natural rhythm of your being. It is about honoring the peace already within you, rather than seeking it through the next scroll. This mindful check is not a burden. It is a gentle return, a reminder that your presence is the most valuable thing you carry. Each time you pause before acting, you strengthen your connection to the quiet stillness that is your true nature. You affirm that peace is not found in the screen, but in the space between the screen and your awareness. You reclaim the present moment, not by fighting distraction, but by meeting it with kindness and attention. So, as you move through your day, notice the subtle shifts. When the phone buzzes, feel the urge, pause, breathe, and choose. See how this simple act of intention transforms the interaction. See how it brings you back to the quiet rhythm of your own breath, your own body, the deep peace that has always been here. It is not separate from your digital life. It is the very ground from which your digital life can be lived with clarity and care. This completes the journey from stillness to living peace. You have moved beyond seeking peace as a state to be achieved. You have discovered it as the natural, embodied reality of being fully present, right here, right now, in the simple act of noticing and choosing. The peace is not in the absence of technology. It is in the presence of awareness within it.